Hi, I'm Jack Grimmer at Wycombe Wanderers, and you're listening to Wycombe Sound.
The Wycombe Wanderers Show.
A very good evening and welcome to this week's Wycombe Wanderers Show. Colin is on the sub-bench, so I've come off the sub-bench and is Luke here with you for the next hour, where you'll hear from former Chairboys player Andy Kerr. Of course, we have our match debrief with Phil Catchpole. And also, in the week that Bill Turnbull would have celebrated his 67th birthday, Phil Catchpole has been talking to his daughter Flora, who is running this year's London Marathon, dedicated to her dad, and also raising money for Prostate Cancer UK. All of that coming up in the next hour. We start, though, with the highlights from Tuesday night.
Welcome to Adams Park. It's a frosty, cold night, but it's going to be warm out on the pitch because it's Wycombe Wanderers taking on their local neighbours, Oxford United. They're still jostling in the 6-yard area, and John the Beater is told to wait before taking the corner. The whistle goes and it will come in now. In it goes towards that back post. It's up to Vokes. He heads it back across. Hanlon's shot is charged down. To ball up to McCarthy into Wheeler, chests the ball down intelligently to Vokes. Oh, that's a lovely pass by Vokes to Mehmeti. Now Mehmeti's got the ball to run at. Anderson goes on the outside, lays it across the face of goal. It's a good bit of keeping by Eastwood. Got his angles right. And Brannigan has the ball just outside the centre circle. Tries a cute little pass to Wildshut, and it's defended well. But now Mehmeti has the ball on the counter. Mehmeti heading towards the penalty area. Anderson trying to catch up. Mehmeti still going. Lays it back
there we go.
to Vokes.
Yes!
Mehmeti to Sam Vokes. And Vokesy, it's been a little while for his goal, but he doesn't miss those. And he skates over to Mehmeti for the full celebration, and Alice Mehmeti there unpicked the lock. Strier goes long towards Vokes. Vokes wins a flick on it. It's lovely to Mehmeti. Mehmeti sprints onto it now. He's inside the area, goes for goal.
Yes!
Alice Mehmeti, take a bow. And if any teams are watching that, keep finding the pound signs. Superb stuff from Alice Mehmeti. Vokes returns the compliment from his first goal. It was his header with the assist, but Mehmeti had plenty to do, and boy didn't he do it well. Vokes then puts the ball out wide to Mehmeti. A beater's giving an option out wide. Mehmeti uses a beater. The beater first time cross comes in, looking for Vokes. Drops down to wing on the volley. Just hits it a touch early, gets underneath it, and that goes into the Wycombe fans on the terrace who put the ball to the back of the terrace. You won't be seeing that again. And the referee blows a full-time whistle. Wycombe Wanderers, who haven't been in action for 10 days and won't be playing again for 11, have interspersed the long gap with a really good performance and 3 points, Danny, and that's exactly what they needed tonight, wasn't it?
Absolutely, and listen, Oxford started the game probably the better, but I felt Wycombe got the goal at a crucial time, and then the game changer Mehmeti in the first half was the real difference, a real mark of quality above everyone else on the pitch, really, and a well-deserved victory and a well-managed game, I think.
And we leave you with the full-time score of Wycombe Wanderers 2, Oxford United 0.
Those were your highlights from Tuesday night. Let's catch up with Phil Catchpole for this week's match debrief. Evening, Phil. How you doing?
I'm very well indeed. Yeah, buoyed by that victory over our near neighbours.
Yeah, it was really good. Before we speak about that, though, 2 things to mention. Congratulations on 1 year of WanderersTV. You must be really happy with how it's all gone in the last 12 months. I can't believe it's only been a year.
It's flown by, isn't it? And yeah, learned a lot. Hopefully people have enjoyed the content, and and thanks to you guys as well, an integral part of the matchday operation in getting us out there with the commentary over the filming of the games and everything else. So yeah, it's been a really good year. Obviously so much has happened as well, but it's just been a real privilege to be able to get inside and film what's been going on and keep telling the story of this wonderful club.
And the other thing to mention is that, and I'm not sure if we mentioned this on air or if it was off air, but you actually got a prediction right. You said it was going to be 2-0, and it was.
Well, a stop clock is right twice a day, isn't it? So there's going to be some point in this season one of my predictions was going to come true. But I'm just glad it was Tuesday night.
Yeah. Let's hear your thoughts on the game, though. It was an excellent game. Not to sound like Gareth Ainsworth, but it was really a whole team performance. Everyone performed really, really well. But what were your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought we really controlled the game. I thought it was from 1 to 11, as you just said, a really excellent performance. I know Gareth doesn't like to pick players out singly, but I mean, I thought Jack Grimmer was excellent in the heart of defence. It's not his natural position, centre back. He's been a right back by trade, but you know, I think he was 29 on Burns night the day after as well. So, you know, you can almost say he's moving into that sort of senior player in terms of his character as well. But to see him play so well at centre-back the other night, and you know, an underrated pass as well for one of the goals to get Anis away down that left-hand side. So, yeah, I thought he was excellent. I thought Scowen and Wing really controlled the midfield. I know Carl Robinson has said to the contrary, but Wycombe, excellent in both penalty areas, never looked in any danger. And a really good performance. And the one thing I was worried about going into the game was the lack of rhythm because of the postponement of the Bristol Rovers game. But Gareth Ainsworth has constantly talked about the adaptability of this squad and dealing with all sorts of different situations and circumstances. And again, they came up trumps on Tuesday night. They looked sharp. You know, of course they were going to be fresh. They didn't have the 90 minutes on Saturday, but they looked match sharp and they looked focused. And I think that's a really difficult thing to achieve when you've got a patchy schedule like Wycombe have got, and they've got to do the same again next week, because obviously this weekend we don't have a game. So a real testament to Gareth Ainsworth and the staff here as well for getting the players physically and mentally ready for that game. And I thought they absolutely deserved the victory, and it was great to get one over our near neighbours. And Gareth Ainsworth was in a good mood after the game, as you'd expect.
Thank you for all those who turned up, you know, and including the Oxford fans. You know, they've made a good journey down on a real cold night. The lower tier of the stand was closed. Obviously, we had some problems there, but the guys made noise. You know, they were behind us. It's always a nice one, isn't it? You know, the M40 derby there. I know Oxford's rivals are Swindon, but we have become this team now that we like, you know, having this atmosphere and this sort of rivalry between the two clubs. It's nice, and I say it's been a good atmosphere tonight, a well played game. I'm really pleased to come out on top.
Anis Rametti and Sam Vokes doing the damage in the first half and returning the compliments to each other.
Yeah, it was a brilliant one, isn't it? I think Anis has again showed how sought after he is. You know, he's a cracking player. You know, and his cross to Sam was just inch perfect. You know, Sam has eluded the centre halves and the left foot finish that you expect Sam Vokes to finish. You know, and I'm really pleased for Vokes because last year he's banging in goals. I think this year he's had 2 or 3 disallowed, and he would be approaching double figures now, and I think all those goals should have been allowed. You know, we have no idea why they were choked off, but no, Sam's awesome. Played a brilliant pressing game from the front there, which is probably not his game, but it's something I wanted to do. I saw Oxford on Saturday, well, for 70 minutes, and then I didn't see much, but it was a high press that Cole put on against Ipswich, a real high press, and he played his 5 at the back. But I had a suspicion he might go back to a 4 tonight, and that's why I've changed my formation to match him up. And you know, sometimes you get it totally wrong, but I was pleased. You know, Joe Jacobson took the news really well. He said, "Gaffer, if that's what you think, then I'm fine with that." And that's the club captain missing out because he was sensational against Sheffield Wednesday. But the boys pressed, harried, didn't give any time to Oxford on the ball, and on a cold night, on a slippy pitch where the ball's not travelling really well, I thought we played some real good stuff. We had some real good chances tonight, and we could have had 1 or 2 more.
Must feel good when you get that call right, because I think Kieran McKenna of Ipswich Town was bemoaning the fact that Cole Robinson took him by surprise on Saturday, yeah. But an afternoon well spent by the sound of it, the Kassan. Yeah,
you know, we all change different things, and like I say, I have to give credit to Carl Robinson because he really gave Ipswich a big shock on Saturday, and they did really well. Oxford, I think they're a good side. I think they're going to end up, as they always do, coming light and reaching those playoffs. But there's going to be a massive bum fight for 2 spaces here, you know, and Derby, Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday and Plymouth look like the top 4. after that, wow, there's going to be a scrap. I think Portsmouth have won again. Shrewsbury coming into it, Charlton are big, and Barnsley, Bolton, Wycombe, Oxford. There's a lot of good teams in there, so we just want to keep on the coattails of the ones above us and hope we can crash a party, because that's what we do. This club is the smallest in the league, but we got big hearts and we'll scrap. But no, fair play to both teams tonight. I thought it was a real good game, no malice in it at all. Oxford have got some real good players. Night belongs to us. It could go either way, that, but some real quality play, especially from Anis. But some of the pressing, like I said, the defending, I think Oxford had a fair share of shots, but it didn't feel like it, because the tackles, the last ditch, Josh Gowan just seems to be everywhere at times, and Jack Grimmer and staff, I thought, really marshalled it well in defence. Another clean sheet for Max, which is good. Just a good all-round performance, and I've just been told it's our number one fan, Bill Turnbull's birthday tomorrow as well, so that's nice. That one's for Bill looking down on us. I'm sure he'll be enjoying that one.
It's been 10 days since Wycombe lost to Sheffield Wednesday here at Adams Park. It's 11 days until the next game against Port Vale. How important was it in terms of the league and momentum that Wycombe got the 3 points tonight? Yeah,
we lost against Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 in a really close fought game, and then we didn't have a game, and that felt like a long time, and it was a long time. We've struggled this week training. We've had to train on AstroTurf. I can't thank the groundsman at Wycombe enough, and Rob Cooig. He's put the undersoil heating on us for us yesterday just to get a session on the pitch, which it costs, by the way. The energy prices don't think that football clubs don't have to pay them as well. We've had to pay a lot of money to get the undersoil on for a couple of days so we can train down here and get this game on tonight. Thank goodness we did, because I thought the training session went well yesterday. The game's gone well tonight, and it has been tough. But I just said to the boys now, with no game this weekend, going into a sort of 10-day break again, it's nice to be on the back of a win, and I think there's a couple of teams with games in hand. I think we've got a game in hand with somebody above us. There's going to be all sorts of twists and turns yet, but to be in the mix at this stage of the season is nice, and just hoping we can have a good window, which means keeping hold of most of my players. Maybe one or two still on the fringes just may go out for some games, but I'm really pleased where we are at the moment.
If there were any scouts watching Anis Vermetti tonight, they'll be going back to work tomorrow with a full notebook, won't they?
No, I don't think so. Nothing to see here.
Gareth, enjoy the weekend. I'm sure you'll be watching lots of League One football, but great results tonight. Well done.
Thank you very much. Top man, Phil.
One question that no one ever asked you. You asked Danny Sender, who joined you for the commentary. He was great. But who was your man of the match? You mentioned Jack Grimmer earlier. Would it be Jack that was your man of the match?
I think so, yeah, because like I say, there's so many circumstances in there. He's slightly out of position, but he's a really great character as well. And that spine of the team now, Striek, Tafazoli, Grimmer alongside him in this occasion, Scowen and Wing and folks, down the middle. That's a fantastically strong spine. And you can see now Wycombe looking comfortable, controlling games. And that's probably what we were lacking at the start of the season, where it was just taking a bit of time for the characters to rise and fill the airspace left by Akinfenwa and Stockdale. But we're seeing that come through now as well. So, yeah, I thought Jack was just superb, because Oxford are a good side. They've got really good players as well. But I thought Wycombe just really controlled it from start to finish. And I thought Jack was a huge part of that. But it's difficult because 1 to 11, I thought the performance was excellent right the way across the board. But we had to speak to Jack after the game. It was his birthday the day after as well. And he's always good fun to interview Jack, especially after a win, but he was absolutely buzzing.
I think because we've not had many games, it honestly makes it that bit more sweeter. And the fact we don't have a game this weekend, it definitely makes it sweeter, because you can sit on the 3 points for, you've done your bit, let the other teams go and fight it out this weekend. And of course, obviously against Oxford, it's always nice to get one over on them.
An excellent performance from yourself and the whole team, and the result too. But I know Gareth Ainsworth is all about the performance. Is it a shame we're not playing Saturday now? Are you itching to get back out there?
Well, this is the thing. I feel like we were, apart from Plymouth, which I thought we could have got something out of in the end, and at Sheffield Wednesday, which I still think we could have got something out. We've been in good form. Apart from those 2 losses, I think December we did well, and I think it's been a bit like, a really slow start to the year. But you just need to look at February, March, and we've got a lot of games. So yes, I'd probably rather be playing more often during this good form, but like I said, we can get rested up, enjoy the weekend, and then hopefully come out the traps flying at Port Vale.
You came here as a right back, but centre back of late, and a really assured performance, especially tonight.
Yeah, thanks. It's one of those, it's that cliche saying, as long as I'm playing, I'm happy, to help the team. But I think it's obviously coupled with the fact that we've kept clean sheets as well, which is always, right back or centre back is always a nice feeling. Especially when we went to 2 goals up, some of the other boys are probably thinking to go get 3-4, and I'm thinking, no, we need a clean sheet. So I think it's the defence mentality, which I think Max is getting the rewards that, that's probably double figures clean sheet maybe for him, and which is good to, good for him to pick up that, get another clean sheet on his record. And as long as I'm playing in part of the defence, clean sheets are always welcome.
Tap alongside you, but Lewis Wing and Josh Scowen in front as well. What's the view like in the middle of the pitch?
Yeah, honestly, I think, as a defender, I'm obviously buzzing keeping a clean sheet, but I don't think I can sing their praises highly enough, if I'm being honest, and maybe the gaffers try to as well. But for me, they honestly make my life easier, Taft's life easier, and the rest of the defence, because I don't want to do them a disrespect by calling them the mop, because they've got so much more to their game, but honestly they are everywhere on the pitch helping us out, and I don't think, like I said, I could sing their praises highly enough, because they make our job a lot easier.
Folks, he's been an important sort of contributor of his performance, hold up playing heading, but he got his goal tonight as well. Important one for him. Yeah,
I'm buzzing for him. I think obviously last season he'd scored probably the amount that he would like to, and he hasn't unfortunately done that this season. But again, I don't think he can be underestimated, the work he does off the ball, especially at Wycombe as well, where we're all about characters and people that we have in the building, and he is that guy. I got on really well with him, and I'm delighted for him he gets his goal tonight, but his all-round play, his hold-up playing things, he battered their centre half. So I think, it's nice to see him score, but I think that the other side of his game is very important to us as well.
With your right back hat back on, would you like to play against Anis Vermetti?
Yeah. No, I'm joking. I honestly do it in training, because you do want to test yourself against the best one-on-ones, and he definitely is that. And he's gotten a lot of praise this season, and rightly so. I feel that he maybe took a bit of a whack not being involved at Wembley, and I think he came back raring to go, and I'm not saying he came back a different player, because the signs were definitely there, but he came back with a point to prove, and I'm buzzing for him. He's getting all the plaudits, and he's back even through his sticky patches. He keeps trying to do things right, and I'm glad that he got his goal and I think assist tonight as well, and hopefully he can kick on again now. But it's actually probably a good thing that we've not got another game in January, so we can keep him till the rest of the season, I think.
I think someone's nicked the gaffer's phone just in case someone's trying to ring him.
Yeah, I think if I was them, I would just put my phone on airplane mode probably for the rest of the month, and then see, inevitably offers will come in because of the amount of attention he's drawn, but he deserves it with his work ethic, especially his work ethic. I think the talent's there for all to see, but we're the ones that are seeing him in the gym Monday morning, before everyone else, and that's the stuff that the humility and the humbleness is what will get him further in the game than talent. So I hope he doesn't leave us too soon, but he deserves all the plaudits for sure.
And no game this Saturday. What's this weekend look like for you guys? Is it extra training?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think we've actually got a training game, I think, on Saturday. I think because obviously it was quite annoying and frustrating, the Bristol Rovers game getting called off, and because we're in such good form, like I said, I'm itching to get out there. You're itching to try experience that feeling of winning more often, and the game getting called off at last minute kind of threw our plans into chaos a bit. But the gaffer kind of said it before the game that we are very good at adapting. I've been like that, all the boys have been like that since they've been here. And so, like I said, this weekend was obviously a bit more planned, so we know what we're doing. But prepare in the right way, get in, and because the league is so tight, you can be excited about the win for tonight, maybe tomorrow. Actually, because it's my birthday tomorrow, I'll be excited about it then. And then after that, you have to focus on the next game, because especially because the teams play on Saturday. You know, you could be down a league position by the time we go to Port Vale. So, yeah, enjoy the weekend off, because they are few and far between in football, and raring to go for Port Vale.
Jack Grimm was born on Burns Night. Are you the most Scottish man in existence?
I honestly think I am. I think it's underrated. Honestly, I don't think it was until I came down here to England that I realised just how Scottish that is. Born on Burns Night, and you know, I've haggis, neeps and tatties every day on my birthday. But yeah, my wife's probably treating me to haggis, neeps and tatties tomorrow for Burns Night, and yeah, it definitely makes it a sweeter birthday getting the 3 points tonight.
Well, a Wycombe win tonight. I wasn't going to mention the Aberdeen result, but you got the Wycombe win tonight.
Yeah, let's just not talk about Aberdeen at the minute. Honestly, I do keep obviously in touch because I'm a hometown club, and obviously Toolsy as well. But you know, the quicker they can turn that situation around, the better. I think, definitely.
Well, enjoy the Wycombe result this week, and happy birthday tomorrow.
Love it, man. Thank you. Cheers, my man. Thanks.
Two other people to mention, of course, Anis Mehmeti, who we'll talk about in a minute, but also Sam Vokes as well. Crucial in the goals and the goal itself. But, you know, he's had I don't want to say unlucky season, but he's, you know, a frustrating season with a couple of goals disallowed, but finally getting that goal on Tuesday, and it was a great goal itself.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Sam Vokes is a striker. He's going to want to be scoring goals, but we often talk about his role on the pitch away from the scoring of the goals as well. You know, defending set pieces, he's crucial to that. He's so good in the air. His link-up play, you know, he's on the deck and heading and flicking on has been key. And, you know, he topped it off on Tuesday with a goal and an assist for Anis as well, which will be really pleasing for him. And let's not forget, he's had a couple of injuries as well, which have hampered him a little bit too. But yeah, top scorer last season, and hopefully Tuesday night can be a really good kickstart for the goal scoring as well, because if you've got your number 9 firing and you're keeping goals out of the other end, that's going to be a fantastic formula as we hit the run in and hopefully get ourselves into that top 6. But, you know, he's a great character, Vokesy, as well. And I'll say he looks a lot more comfortable putting the ball in the back of the net Tuesday than he did on that skateboard last week. So, yeah, it was a really good performance by him as well. And yeah, hopefully when we play Port Vale, he's back on the score sheet as well.
Well, you said to Colin, maybe the skateboarding needs to be part of the pre-match warm-up now.
Yeah, I'm not sure the physios or the staff here will be wanting to see him on a skateboard too regularly, but yeah, but maybe, yeah, if that's what it takes, then maybe we'll do it.
And then, of course, Anis Mehmeti, who again had an excellent game. You said after his goal to any clubs watching, more pound signs, please. And you know, we are 26 days into January. I think all Chairboys fans are eagerly watching social media just to, you know, in hoping that we can keep him through this January window, because he has been outstanding.
Yeah, he's just a joy to watch. You know, he's a joy to have around the place as well. He's in the building, the first player here. He's incredibly focused. He's incredibly driven, and it was lovely talking to Gareth the other week when we did that long chat with him, sort of the halfway through the season bit, and we talked about Anis. And he said, look, the technical stuff with the ball, he says, I can't teach him anything. You know, if anything, he could teach us stuff. You know, he's got that raw, natural ability. And again, credit to the staff here and Gareth and Dobbo, because what they've done is they've worked on the areas that needed improving. His heading, you know, as he's sort of stopped growing now, he's 22 years old and he's filling out, he's getting stronger. The work ethic is really in there. He understands his defensive capability, you know, his responsibilities. He's a complete player now. We saw Gareth do the same with Eberici Eze when he was on loan. You know, you can have all the talent in the world, but it's a team game. You've got to remember your team responsibilities. And Anis is just fantastic at that. But yeah, we saw the other side, the dazzling side, the box office side to his game on Tuesday. I thought the assist was wonderful. The right back who was marking him for Oxford got taken off at half time. You know, that's never a good defensively. I think they had to get a more defensive player on, but that didn't really hinder Anis either, and he had a night to remember. And hopefully we've got a few more Saturdays and nights to remember with Anis as well as the season rolls on in the quarters. It'd be great for him to be here for the whole season. But of course, people are going to be watching him because his goals, his assists, he's a player that people want to pay money to watch. But, you know, these sorts of things cost money as well. So if the right offer came in, I'm sure the club would look at it. But at the moment, he's a Wycombe Wanderers player, and we should enjoy it while it lasts.
Definitely. We mentioned transfer window earlier on today. Sully Kaikai announcing that moving to MK Dons after 32 appearances. He's been another player that's been great for the club.
Yeah, it's a player that came here with a really excellent track record. Soleil was superb for Blackpool when they got out of League One. He played over 40 times for that team who got promoted to the Championship. He never really kind of clicked with that consistent run in the team. But, if we look back at his stats and his goal involvements in the brief first team opportunities he had with us, then the quality was there. But I think at his stage of his career, he needs regular football. MK Dons could certainly do with some help in terms of scoring goals and winning matches at the moment, looking at where they are at the table. So we wish him all the best. He was a really good lad, Soleil. But yeah, just sometimes I think we're looking at really focusing on the squad now and sort of boiling it down and working with what he's got between now and the end of the season and keeping that really tight squad now. So yeah, it should be interesting to see how we get on. We'll obviously see him at Adams Park at some point later this season as well, because MK have got to come here.
Definitely, and it's great to hear. You spoke to Gareth and to Rob around the Christmas time with longer interviews, and it was great hearing them that, obviously we want to keep players that we can use on substitutes, but they're both very aware that the more senior players want to be playing more games, and that if they can do that somewhere else and the club are happy, the players are happy, then they're going to fully support it.
Yeah, look, only 11 players can start every game. You've got to keep the squad happy. That's a lot of plays to spin. But look, the football industry is a very small world, and we saw it with Nick Freeman. He went out on loan to Leyton Orient. He came back. He got himself back in the team. He got a really long injury, but they gave him an extension to his contract. And boy, has that been rewarded, because he's been excellent this season, and he looks a much stronger player after working his way back for his rehabilitation. But treating players right, treating people with respect, doing what's best for individuals, that means a lot in the football world. So that will hopefully come back to pay Wycombe good dividends as the seasons roll on, because if you do things the right way and you treat people correctly and you do what's best for everybody and the club as well, of course, that's always first and foremost. But yeah, that's what's happened this window. Daryl Horgan going out to get game time at his stage of his career, similar to Soleil. This is about looking after the individuals as well and doing what's best for the club too, and hopefully everybody gets something out of the situations.
You mentioned it earlier, no games now for Wycombe until the 4th of February, Port Vale away. We go from a quiet January to a very busy February.
Yeah, that's the thing now, isn't it? It's been an odd few weeks or a few months with the more Saturdays than you would normally not have a match day on. But yeah, again, it's one of these where Wycombe have got to keep focused over that, and for the fans as well. And hopefully the fans can maybe dip into non-league and support some of the non-league structure around here by going to get their football fix this weekend, because that's an important part of our community as well. They feed into the football system too. But yeah, I can't wait for match day now, a week on Saturday away at Port Vale. A tick-off for me. I've unbelievably never been there before, so looking forward to that as well. But yeah, we'll all be looking at the League One results come Saturday as well, the games that are on, and of course there's the FA Cup, and no doubt we may replay one of our classic fourth round games possibly over the weekend on WanderersTV. You never know.
Spoilers. Do you have a poster or something that you scratch off of all the clubs that you've been to?
No, I've just sort of got every now and again I'll sort of dip through the divisions and tick off them all as I go. I think Port Vale's going to be 76 out of the 92 for me. So, but yeah, I mean, I think that club's disbanded now. Obviously, you want to do the 92. I think when you did it before, when you got there, you got a tie or something.
Oh.
But, it's a bit like painting the fourth bridge. You've got to keep in it, because obviously teams get relegated and promoted. So, I've not been to Barrow. I've not been to Salford. But my other gaps are mainly in the Premier League. But, hopefully we get up there soon. I can tick them off too.
Well, and we'll get you a tie, because you can't find any wooden ducks now, so we'll just get you a tie instead.
I'm not a big tie wearer, but, if it's a 92 club tie, then maybe I'll make the exception.
And we must mention as well, it would have been Bill Turnbull's birthday this week. His daughter Flora is running the London Marathon and raising money for Prostate Cancer UK. As of us talking now, she is at £6,699, and it's been a great support from the whole community, showing their love to Bill and to Flora as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic that Flora's doing this for many reasons, because it's picking up, Bill, her dad's legacy, because he did so much to raise awareness and money as well for Prostate Cancer UK. But, the awareness was a fantastic legacy, and it's brilliant that Flora can contribute to that as well. And it brings a connection to her for her dad as well, obviously. It's a really hard year of firsts when you lose someone, because first Christmas, first birthday, these are tough milestones for the family. But they'll obviously take great solace in Bill's legacy and the impact that he had, not least at Wycombe Wanderers, but across the whole community. It's really lovely to see that lots of Wycombe fans are getting stuck into that sponsoring as well, and we wish Flora all the best, because that's a tough ask doing the London Marathon, but Bill did 5 himself, so I'm sure she would have got some advice down the line, but we'll see what happens with her. But I'm sure she'll fly around and she'll get huge support from everybody, but not least from everyone connected with Wycombe Wanderers.
Definitely, and as we wish her all the best with the marathon. Am I right saying that you've done the marathon?
I did it in 2019. Yeah, I think running it is probably stretching it.
You would have done it a lot quicker than I would.
I got around, and again, when I did it, I raised money for Scanapil, a local charity, and Wycombe Wanderers fans were huge in the sponsorship that I raised for that. And again, it just goes to show what a great initiative London Marathon is, and the millions and millions of pounds they've raised down the years for charities as well, and the awareness too. But I don't envy Flora getting out there in the moment. The training is tough during the winter. I won't lie, but she's got a real drive and motivation to do it, and a great story for it too. So we wish her all the best.
Definitely. Phil, thank you as always. Good luck with whatever you're commentating on Saturday. It might be, I don't know, cars going past your window or something.
It might be commentating with my toddler putting football through the window, maybe. Yeah.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Good evening, you're listening to the Wycombe Wanderers show. It is Luke in for Colin. Hope your Thursday is going well. Time for our ex-players chat of the week, with thanks as always to the Wycombe Ex-Players Association. And this week it is Wanderers former player Andy Kerr, who has been tracked down to Vancouver Island in Canada. Long remembered by many Blues fans for playing back in the 1990s. And Colin caught up with him earlier in the week and started by asking him what he's up to at the moment.
So I'm a wealth manager at the largest credit union. It's a financial institution in Canada. I help people manage their wealth. How's that?
That's very different to what many supporters might have seen you last do.
Well, it's a far change from football, I can tell you that.
So how did that happen? Because I know you were in Singapore as well, so just before the pandemic. Yeah,
so I spent many years in the UK. I was born and educated and bred in the UK, and I spent many years playing football. I had some fantastic years at Wycombe Wanderers, from the old stadium and to the stadium where they are now. And at the end of the career, I did try and dabble in the media. I did some radio work, and I did some work for Sky. And I actually applied for a job at Wycombe Wanderers as a coaching in the community head. And unfortunately, even though I thought I had my badge, I'd get it, and I didn't. So I kind of exhausted my channels in the UK, and I still felt like I had a lot to give. So I had to look overseas, and I need a breath of fresh air to get me going. So I just moved to Asia.
So I think a really nice place to start with when we chat to ex-players is kind of just to really gauge your kind of earliest memories, if you like, of your time, certainly at Wycombe.
Yeah, I mean, my earliest time, Jim Kalman was the first person I saw at Wycombe Wanderers, who was a great coach, and we were very, very privileged as non-league players to train at places like Bisham Abbey. So it gave you that feeling that you were amongst the professionals, and I was very lucky to be part of a cohort of players that had the fundamentals for a great team, and that was evident over the years that we were successful.
And I guess as well, once you first started, you couldn't have imagined how well established you'd be in the team and playing under Martin Inlow, of course, and the trophy finals that you were involved with as well.
the trophy final was one of those memories. I was very lucky again. I keep saying that because it wasn't just my talent. I was with some great players, and we had some great coaching staff and management. And the supporters were phenomenal. I'm not sure what they're like now, but back then, considering Wycombe was a small ground and a small team, the support was fantastic and got us through a lot of games. And we had some great runs and some great matches, and we were very fortunate to get promoted a few times and go to Wembley, and it was a very, very successful time.
And many of the players that you played with, it was such an established team, wasn't it? And the partnerships that you established at the back with so many great teammates as well.
Yeah, the poor old. I heard recently the sad news that what happened to my old mucker Glyn Creaser, and he was a stalwart, not just in the conference, but he was a personality and a character, and Terry Evans as well, Matt Crosley. We had some great players at that time, and as I say, it was I think more luck than judgment that I ended up with a cohort of players that actually should have been playing at a higher level. But football, as it is, you get these changes in your career, and you end up together, and having the motivation from somebody like Martin O'Neill, who, dressing room motivation, he's probably as good as you can get in a changing room to motivate you when your head's not in the right place. So the conditions were good. The new stadium was fantastic. Everything came together at the right time, and we had a good run of 3 or 4 years.
So obviously reflecting on things which must really stand out, and leading the team out against Runcorn, and obviously scoring as well.
Yeah, it's funny enough. I have 2 young girls, and I'm 56 years old now, so I'm at the other side of that spectrum, and I'm trying to leave something that they may remember at some point, because they were born in Singapore. Now they live in Canada, and they've had kind of a global exposure, but they really don't know what Papa did. And so I really I tried to talk to them about it, and they just look at me like, Papa, what are you talking about?
Do you show them photographs? You must have many a picture that you can show them.
Photographs. So my hair is a story in itself. So when I look through the decades, it's changed each decade, from having kind of a big afro, which was very fashionable in the 70s, and then flat top, which was very fashionable in the 80s, and then I had funky dreads, which was like, every decade I look completely different, and now I don't have any hair at all.
I'm sure your young children are very. I'm sure they find it most amusing to be watching how much their dad has changed.
Yeah, they just love anything to do with excitement, and when I show them anything where there's a crowd, they get excited. They're just your normal kids.
So are there any other particular kind of games or occasions or one of your goals perhaps that really stand out during your time at the club?
Oh, good question. So obviously the scoring at Wembley is something not everybody gets to do, and we won the cup, and I was captain, so that was one of those standout moments. But in my opportunistic days, when many people might not remember, but Wimbledon used to be pretty much a prolific football club. I did have an opportunity under Joe Kinnear to play for Wimbledon, and it didn't actually materialise the way I'd like it. And in the end, I spent another season at Wycombe Wanderers, and we got promotion and we won the cup. So, the calculation was good, but I think I might not be working as a wealth manager if I'd been playing in the first division.
No, definitely. What would you say was the key to kind of your success? Because the different players you mentioned, Glenn Creaser, obviously, other players that you played with at the back, and obviously a pretty decent goalkeeper behind you as well. But I'm sure many sort of forwards kind of really feared coming up against the Wycombe defence.
Yeah, I mean, John Kerr was around. We shared funny enough, same namesake as myself. But when I first arrived, there were a few players that came and went, but John seemed to stick out for a while. And Mark West, obviously, I think everybody in Wycombe knows who he is. He had a great track record, but he had an uncanny ability to score important goals. And then through the years, obviously, the likes of Tim Langford and Casey, I come on, the name escapes me, and Scotty, who's who probably everybody's still familiar with because he carries a reputation around with himself, Keith Scott. And up front, I mean, Steve Guppy stands out. He came to Wycombe as a 21-year-old, rough and rugged from Southampton, and groomed himself and managed to have a great career.
And the style of football that you played as well really excited the fans. You mentioned, Steve Guppy obviously with his fantastic crosses and pace as well, and midfield and obviously, defence as well, and so well organised under Martin as well.
Yeah, Martin, I feel Martin's great strength is his ability to get the best out of players who may not have the right attitude. He has this ability to motivate you when you don't feel like being motivated, and getting the best out of the team to pull together. And I think that's been testimony to his managerial skills, and we've witnessed that through the teams he's managed throughout the decades.
And did it feel so special being at the club at a time where it was on the cusp of really going from a non-league kind of part-time to really full-time professional side into the football league?
Yeah, I was when I was 16, I started at Shrewsbury Town. That were there in the second division, the old second division at the time, and I at the age of 20 was again one of those career moves where you're disappointed. I thought I was due to get in a new professional contract, and they didn't renew my contract. And I went to semi-professional football and played at Telford for a while, and did some work outside of football, thinking that I needed to provide myself with a professional career outside of the game. And Wycombe, well, it was Jim Kelman who we talked to, and he said, you're too young to be pretty much, giving up on the game. And he saw the potential in me. And the moment I arrived at Lokes Park, I mean, first of all, the pitch was a slope, and people who are old enough to remember it would think in today's environment that would be unheard of. But it was just a period where there were the right players at the right time with the right attitude, and there was a hell of a lot of desire in the side to do well. And we were all buddies, and we were all mates, and we would we'd pretty much look after each other. We'd do whatever we could, and things worked out quite well.
I think that's something that really the fans really appreciated as well. And you could tell, how hard the team worked, and also, for yourself to add over 250 appearances, for the club. How do you look back overall on your time at the club?
Yeah, I obviously I'm very happy to have had the career that I've had, albeit it wasn't at the top flight. And I look back, and at the time that the girlfriend I had kept a scrapbook unbeknown to me. So at the end of my career, I had this fantastic scrapbook to look through, and that's going to stay in my family. And I really treasure it because it's a fundamental part of my life. It's formed and shaped my character. And there's no way I would be a manager in the financial sector without the attitudes that I've picked up and the characteristics I've picked up by playing football and learning the disciplines and the desire and the motivation, the hard work to succeed. So, it's shaped my life.
And the relationship you had with the fans as well, such a supportive favourite as well throughout your time there.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm not quite sure about that, but I'll take it. I had a decent relationship with the crowd. As a defender, it's normally the forwards that spark the attention. But I think I was, I started off my career as a midfielder, so I loved scoring goals. And Glenn Creaser and I used to have this tally trying to score who could score the most goals as a centre-back. And with the crosses like Simon Hutchinson and Steve Guppy and Dave Carroll, the crosses kept coming in. And I was lucky enough to have the ability to jump quite high and good timing. And so things worked out well.
And fantastic that you've been through all that together with those players, and I'm sure many of them you're still in touch with today.
Well, that's an interesting thing. I left in 2004, and I was living in Buckinghamshire at the time, and I moved to Southeast Asia, and it's the other side of the world, and it's a little red dot in Asia, and people don't really know where it is. In order for me to change my career and push on, I really need to get my head down. And if I could say, I took a lot of exams. So that meant I had to focus my attention on something else. And sadly, my ability to retain relationships with a lot of my ex-players, it didn't really happen. I started a family. I had to focus on the future and focus on carving out a career in wealth management. So, if there's one part of me that's a bit sad, it's that I should have kept in touch better with some of my old muckers, as you call them.
No, absolutely. And really great that the Ex-Players Association, though, can, sort of keep you, in touch, and especially with technology. And we say you're in Canada in a different time zone, but, it must feel like, it's quite easy to keep in touch with people still.
Well, I was saying to John Taylor when he contacted me that I'm a bit of a voyeur. I kind of watch things from a distance. So I would look at things on LinkedIn. I see the players when they get together, and it does bring back fantastic memories. But the time zone issue is a bit of a problem. But when I spoke to John recently, he kind of reignited that little spark and fire in your tummy, and mentioned that there's a get together in November. And I'm kind of thinking I might have to get a flight.
Oh, no, that would be fantastic to, as I say, reunite yourself with some of the players that you mentioned as well. It must be really nice as well for you to look back, or forward, I should say, and really see how the team's doing now. Yeah,
again, time zone difference, and I'm in Canada, so the number one sport in Canada is ice hockey, and they like basketball, and they like baseball, and it's you have to really search a little bit or stream to get soccer, and so I'm hoping that I can actually help people understand what football is as opposed to soccer. And also, when the World Cup comes to Vancouver in 2026, I'll be very vocal in my sphere, trying to educate people about the beautiful game, because no matter what anybody tells me, I still think it's the best game in the world.
No, definitely. I know you're really enjoying your career in wealth management now as well. And as you say, great that you can use some of the skills that you picked up on the football pitch as well.
Absolutely. If there's one thing I could tell young kids, it would be to get the attitude and the temperament and the motivation and the diet and the sleep right, because those characteristics carry you through every single type of industry that you'll need. If you want to succeed, you need to build some good habits, and football is as good a sport to build those habits in terms of teamwork, camaraderie, helping others, listening, pushing people on, digging in. When the chips are down, you pull your shirt sleeves up and you start fighting and battling away, and you work with your comrades for an end goal. These are all skills that we need in the marketplace. So it's football and sport in general is great for that.
Well, it's been a real pleasure to speak to you. Really great to hear that you're doing well, and I'm sure many Wycombe fans will be so pleased to hear from you as well. Thank you so much, Andy, for your time, and we wish you all the best.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon.
A big thank you to Andy, and a big thank you, as always, to the Wycombe Wanderers Ex-Players Association for all of their support over the last 3 series of the Wycombe Wanderers show. Now, next week, we've got a very special show lined up, because we will be live from Adams Park. We're going to be coming live from the Wanderers Warm Hub, the Foundation's new initiative, along with their support from Dreams and the Council as well. If you've not heard about it, local people aged 65 plus are welcome to Adams Park Warm Hub for a delicious meal and some great company as well. We'll be learning all about it and talking to people that are going to be down there as well next week from 7 o'clock, where the Wycombe Wanderers show will be live from the Warm Hub.
Online, on Radio Player, and on 106.6 FM. This is Wycombe Sound.
Time for the last part of this week's Wycombe Wanderers show. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, this week would have been the 67th birthday of Bill Turnbull. And his daughter Flora is running the London Marathon this year, raising it in the memory of her dad, and also raising money for Prostate Cancer UK. And so far, Flora has raised over £6,800. And Phil spoke to her earlier in the week for WanderersTV to find out how her training was going and raising money for prostate cancer.
Yeah, no, it's actually going really well, thanks. It's not ever, these distances are not ones that I've covered before, so kind of starting from the ground up. But I think because I've been quite consistent with just starting at the bare minimum, actually slowly does it, and it's actually really helped. So I'm enjoying it so far. But yeah, here we go. I'm kind of at the halfway mark at this point.
Well, the weather's going to get better from here on as well, which makes it a bit easier. But I guess the other thing as well is it's a cause close to your heart, very close to your heart.
Yeah, it definitely is. And I think, I just thought in the year after losing Dad that I wanted to give myself a bit of a purpose, and what better purpose than to kind of keep his legacy alive and keep raising money for prostate cancer and just keep getting the word out there about, men getting tested and just keep the profile up of prostate cancer, because, we're now realizing how vast it really is as an illness and how many men it affects and their families, and just I just kind of wanted to continue the work that Dad had started, and to give myself a bit of a focus as well. So, yeah, that's been quite a positive thing, I think, to come out of this year.
Yeah, losing a parent is a really horrible thing to go through, and grief. But the training, as you say, gives you that purpose as well. And what do you reckon, Bill, your dad would have said about you doing the marathon? I'm sure he would have given you lots of advice.
Yeah, he would have. He's run it 5 times, or he had run it 5 times in his life. So he was definitely a bit of an expert with marathons. But, he was always very level-headed, and he probably would have just given quite sound advice about it all, and enjoyed hearing about the training and everything. So, yeah, I think he would have been really pleased that I was doing it. But I definitely I'm not one of those people who's just going to go and do a marathon for no reason. I needed a good reason to do it. So this was the best reason I could think of.
I'm sure when the going gets tough as well, you'll feel him on your shoulder, right?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I think when I'm training is a time when I can really think about Dad, and also remember kind of runs that I used to go on when I was younger with Dad, and just think about the marathons that he's run and all of the work and training that he's put into it. It's just a really nice time to reflect, because I think, our lives get so busy and we don't always make the time to properly grieve and think, things overtake us, and you can often be surprised by your grief at strange moments. But the running gives you that kind of reflective time out, and while you're doing something positive as well, to think about that person.
And part of that reflection surely must be the impact that your dad had for Prostate Cancer UK as well, because, I'm still wearing my badge. I still see loads of them all around Adams Park and all around football in general. And he had a huge impact, didn't he? His story really touched a lot of people.
Yeah, it's quite amazing. I still can't really get over how many people reached out in the days after he died, and in the press, and all the stories about him. We were just so proud of him, and the impact that he had in telling his story. I don't think he really knew. I think he knew that he touched a few people's lives in being able to come out about his own experiences, but I don't think he knew the level with which so many people had actually gone and got diagnosed and, faced the illness because of watching him. Because I think, it's such a difficult thing to do, to make that first trip to your GP or to book that first test in is not something to be scorned at, because it's such a scary thing to do. So, yeah, I think, we're all very proud of him and the impact that he had in that way.
And you're announcing you're running the London Marathon and raising money, and on a special day, because this would have been Bill's birthday today.
Yeah, so that's a really nice thing to do. His birthday was always a big thing in our house because it's Burns night, obviously. So you may have heard about how he used to do the full Burns address and the full Scottish accent around the table, and that was a big thing for Dad. He loved it. So, it's hard. It's a difficult day to think, gosh, that reality of him not being here anymore, but also, trying to just remember him in the best way possible and just keep going with everything that he initially started.
Well, Flora, I'm without doubt he'll be very proud of what you're doing. And you've got the whole club, Wycombe Wanderers, the club, the staff, the players, all of the fans will be rooting for you as you go around those streets of London as well. And I'm sure lots of people are going to get involved and get behind you and sponsor you as well.
That's so nice, thank you. And I have to say just such a huge thank you to everyone at Wycombe Wanderers, because, Dad, that was his life, the club, he absolutely adored it. And to know just how much love you gave him back and how much purpose you gave him, especially, in the last years of his life, that's what really kept him going following Wycombe. And, it's such a family club, and everyone who's a part of the club is just such a special person. So thank you so much for all of the support as well.
It's a real pleasure. And if you want to run in the quarters, you've only got to say, we'll get your name on the back and everything.
Thank you.
From everyone here at Wycombe Sound, a huge good luck to Flora running at the London Marathon. And if you want to support Prostate Cancer UK and Flora, then you can head to justgiving.com and search for Flora Turnbull, which the link for it is on our social media and on Wycombe Wanderers. If you're listening to the podcast version of this, hello, then you can find the link below in the description as well. Have a great rest of your week. If you're off to do some non-league football this weekend, enjoy. Maybe you're off to support the Chair Girls. They are in League Cup fixture this week against Milton United ladies. That is away in Milton. All the details can be found on the Wycombe Wanderers Women social media page, which is at WWFC Women. Have a great rest of your week. We will be back next week on Thursday from 7 o'clock, live from Adams Park and the Wycombe Wanderers Food Hub. Have a great rest of your evening.